And now to the big one, the big blockbuster trade. I'm telling you, I thought when Nick sent this to me, I thought it was a troll. I really thought it was a
I
troll.
was so happy when I saw
Well, that was
that
the first
because
when
the
I-
shit. Well, anyway, what
No,
Nick?
go ahead. No, I was gonna say. So I was just perusing Twitter that morning, and it just like popped up on my feed, and I was like, "No way!" So then I googled it, and I didn't see it anywhere else, but I sent it to you guys anyway.
Yeah.
And then a
Well,
couple
because
minutes
it was
later,
like early. It was right when it had happened, and
Yeah.
then you'll
that-
like give it like 10, 15 minutes. You'll start to see a lot more.
whoever I
things
can't
come.
remember what Twitter account broke it, but they definitely were the first ones out there. That's for sure.
It
Yeah.
was Full Press Hockey, something like that.
I feel like they probably saw it from somebody else, like a reporter.
They had
Well,
to,
that was
I
the
know-
thing that
yeah.
that was the thing that Nick sent. So
Yeah.
And that was the first link I found because like I even went to Instagram. I went through Twitter too to see like right after that, and I didn't see anything else. But I was like, "Oh shit!"
that's a big one. That's a big one. That's two.
I
The
was
Not
two.
that it
very
really-
happy when it was Winnipeg
when
and
it was
not
the
Montreal.
Canadiens.
It
That
doesn't
was the-
necessarily help Columbus right now though, because Laine's out on IR. So
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be
That'll help when he
probably
comes back.
a week to 10 days that he's going to have to not play anyway.
Not coming to
because
the
of, like-
U.S. Is there a rule?
I know.
coming
I
to the
think it's
US?
at least 7.
Okay.
It's at least 7 going to the U.S. from everything I've heard. It's 14 if you're going into Canada, which is why I don't. That's a hell of a play for Winnipeg to make. That you're going to be you're going to be without Patrick Laine anyway because he was going on IR. But I
Yeah.
don't know what is he injured with. I don't know how long that is.
I think all it said was
didn't
upper
see either.
body. If I read it, if I'm remembering right.
Well, anyway,
Hold on, I got him on my fantasy team. I'll check.
but you're not going to have a Patrick Laine or a Pierre-Luc Dubois for 14 days
14
in a
days.
very, 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 very close Canadian division.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how that goes.
Well, kind of
So-
close.
So
The
for
Senators
those
are pretty much in the basement of that.
for those who don't know, the trade was Columbus gets Laine and Jack Roslovic, which interestingly enough, he comes from Columbus, Ohio, so he's going home.
Wow.
And Winnipeg gets Pierre-Luc Dubois and a 2022 third-round pick. So it's actually, I think it's a good trade for both organizations. They get 2 players that didn't want to be where they were out, and they get a nifty little return on them. If I had to lean to give one of the teams a win, I think I'd lean towards Columbus because they're getting
Yeah.
2
Too.
pretty solid
2 for
players. And Laine, for those who also don't know, Laine was the second pick, and then Dubois was the pick right after him.
They just swapped.
And Laine has, I think, I wrote it down. I just got to find it. Laine has 250 points in 306 games played. Pierre-Luc Dubois has 159 points in 239 games played. So
At least Laine's not a quitter on his team. so.
Laine's, yeah. Well,
Like
there's
it's
that,
not like Laine was doing bad this year.
No,
he
he
had
was
had
still
a few
trying.
multi-goal games. Like
Yeah.
I think that relationship was a lot more repairable than whatever the hell happened with Columbus and Pierre-Luc Dubois. I don't know what. Like I think he just really didn't want to play in Columbus because I don't.
I wonder if him and
see
Scheifele
that
have
many
something
other
going on.
reasons.
I think like I want to say that I heard somewhere that he and Scheifele don't have a very good relationship, but
Laine?
who cares? Yeah, like who cares? You're professionals. Get over your shit while you're on the ice.
No, the complaint
Yeah,
I
but,
always
like-
heard was that Patrick Laine wanted to play with Scheifele and never got that.
You were on the
He
right
al-
track
he was-
though, bud.
He always that's like just over. Like I mean, he had plenty of good centers to play with, and they basically went out and got Paul Stastny for him this summer. But then now Laine's gone. I
Yeah,
just think
so-
that just the stuff that Laine can do, like the goals he can score, and like just what he can do if he's put in the right spots, he's just a much higher value player
If
than
he has the right
Pierre-Luc Dubois
teammates.
is. I think he's a much. I don't know. I think Columbus wins it on this one, but
What I wrote down here is I checked out the lineups for each team and to see like where these players might end up, And I would say Laine is likely going to be obviously on the 1 or 2 line with Domi as a center or Textier as a center. So I feel like you'd want to stick him with Domi, but that top line is actually pretty killer. So I don't know if they're going to want to change that. So he might end up on the second line with Textier.
Who's
Who's
on
the other winger?
Columbus's top line?
Foligno, Domi, Bjorkstrand, I believe. And Bjorkstrand's not one you're going to want to push down for Laine because they're both right wingers, I believe. Let me look.
I mean, I think you'd put in Laine over Bjorkstrand.
Dude, Bjorkstrand is...
He has memories from Tampa. From the
Bjorkstrand
Tampa
is
series.
a much better player than he gets credit for because every time they played Lightning, he pisses me off.
I mean, I guess if not, I guess then you'd have to be on second line because you're not going to put Patrick Laine any lower than that.
Yeah.
Or why'd you go get Patrick Laine?
Yeah.
So we'll know in about a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Probably 2 weeks. Probably 2 weeks.
So Ben, do you know like?
Oh, actually, it's Atkinson. Atkinson on the right. Sorry.
Oh. He's no scrub either.
No.
No, he's pretty good
Pretty good.
What were you gonna say though, Nick? Do I know what?
Yeah.
So obviously all those guys got put on COVID protocol to go to their next team. But is it like they just have to get a couple negative tests and then play, or do they actually have to be out the duration of time between states or between Canada and US?
My understanding of the Canada situation is going into Canada, the Canadian government is being as strict with them as they are with all citizens in that, or citizens or anybody else in that anytime you've traveled into Canada from outside of the nation, you have to quarantine for 14 days. That's just everybody.
The rule.
And I think part of I don't know because I didn't honestly look into it that much because I just wanted to watch hockey. But as far as I know, that's what the quarantine orders for NHL players are too, coming into and like that's essentially how like those Canadian teams got allowed to be played in their facilities, because for so many of them it was up in the air until like a week before the league started whether or not they were actually even going to be allowed in their facilities, because there's so many provinces that are doing so bad case wise right now and are under really strict lockdowns right now, because like Ontario's super locked down.
They're fully locked down basically.
Yeah, like there's still hockey teams playing. So going into Canada, it's a little tougher. And then I think going into US, it kind of varies state to state, like how everything is varying state to state right now. But I've admittedly not looked that much into the NHL's policies because, again, I just kind of wanted to watch hockey.
Yes, we all wanted to watch hockey.
So all right. So I guess the majority of everyone here we're saying leaning towar's Columbus for.
I feel
a
like
winner
Columbus won
for the
that
trade.
one.
I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois
He's good
is
too.
easily he's easily a high enough ceiling player where he could prove me wrong on that. Like he could become an amazing centerman that is easily better than Patrick Laine. I just think with what I've seen out of Patrick Laine right now and like the goals he can score and what he can do put in the right spot, I think he's a more valuable player.
Yeah. So because I know like everyone was saying Winnipeg really like they wanted to shore up their center depth and they got that with Dubois.
But they had. Did they need to though? I mean, obviously yes. Obviously yes. It's better to have a Pierre-Luc Dubois in your center like depth than not. But they had Scheifele and Stastny at least.
Yes.
I guess that all depends on if you think Paul Stastny is a second line center.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think Paul Stastny can function as a second line center.
I think so too.
I don't think he's optimal as a second line center.
Let me tell you what we're looking at after that. After that second line, we're looking at Adam Lowry and Jansen Harkins.
Okay, Adam Lowry's a decent fourth liner or third or fourth liner, but then Tessa, I don't know enough
who
about
the other guy is.
I don't know enough about Winnipeg's.
Like you said, Ben, like you said, in a super close Canadian division, right? I guess if Winnipeg's like, hey, we want to make a run and we want center depth for the, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense.
This is gonna make them
It'll make more sense.
I would have kept the winger. I'm not gonna lie.
What is Laine's injury? That's what I want to know. In Laine injury news,
Also,
because how long is he going to be out? Because if he's going to be out like several weeks, then yeah, sure, make the trade. You're not going to have him.
That might be what's happening.
Well, you look into that injury, Benny, real quick. If you cut me off when you find it. But the other thing I was thinking about, so like we all kind of know the coach that Torts kind of is.
Yeah.
He's very hard ass. Like Laine, how do you think him and Laine are gonna mesh? Like that's an honest question. Like
Poorly.
do you think Laine's gonna? So that's right. So if we're just looking at it right, stats wise, like oh my god, of course Laine's gonna be great for Columbus, right? Generational finisher. But
I think it will largely depend on how much production Laine has out of the gate. Because while yes, Tortorella is a hard ass, if you produce for him, he won't be.
It's true.
That is the thing that makes him like you. Is like if you do well for him, he will like you. If you don't do well for him, then meh. If he produces right off, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, if he's slow to start, I can very easily see how Tortorella could very quickly turn into the same kind of situation.
Yeah, because like here's the thing for me, right? Like both players, I know they didn't want to be where they were, but like Dubois in Winnipeg with in a super tight Canadian division, he knows maybe like potential deep playoff run. I think Columbus is capable of that, but like Winnipeg, they have some
might
pieces,
be more capable.
So if you look at that, Dubois is going to, in terms of like, fresh start, going to be producing a lot. I definitely see that more with Winnipeg. But like, yeah, if Laine and the whole Columbus thing does not go well, like that could be a disaster. I'm not saying it's going to be, but like.
Because his contract is up at the end of this year, I believe. I believe he goes into some more RFA action.
Yeah, because he was. Oh, Christ. He was like a late signing like a couple years back. Like he was right up until the end too of a summer when he was an RFA.
I feel like we were just talking about Laine's contract. Like,
yeah,
I don't remember talking about that, but
not us.
I'd like to.
I'm not saying us.
Just generally, like it feels like it wasn't that long ago. I think. Yeah.
I don't think it was a long contract, so we probably.
I think it was. I think it was 2 years. Yeah.
Oh man, I spilled crumbs on my desk from dinner.
I can't seem to find anything definitive on Laine's. It just says day to day is like the most specific it gets. But okay, so then Columbus might just get him back really soon. So who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. So that's I just wanted to add that little tidbit in there. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So.